Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here from my channel Nintendo Collecting, bringing you an updated version of the pricing and rarity guide for the Nintendo 64 controller variations. Personally, I find the N64 to be my favorite console, but it's also very easy to collect for because of all the different color variations. In particular, there's actually 30 different controller colors that are released officially for the Nintendo 64. Now, if you're actually looking to get these controllers, I am going to give you the rarity in increasing rarity. So essentially, this will be the first one, the standard gray one, which is the least rare, and the last one I'll talk about this video will be the most rare. And again, that's just my opinion. Speaking of opinion, I'm also going to give you what I think the prices are for the controllers. I'm either going to give you the controller price loose, which just means only the controller in good condition, usually with a tight joystick. Then I'm also going to give you the price for the controller as if it actually came in one of the boxes. On the left, you're looking at the boxed variation for North America, as well as Europe, essentially. And on the right, this is actually the boxing for Japan. There were a few other different boxing variations worldwide, but these are generally the ones that I'm going to show you, as well as sealed blister packs throughout this video. Now, I must warn you that if you're buying a complete controller, you're usually also looking to get the cardboard insert that comes with it, and in Japan, there was some sort of an instructions that came with it. In North America and Europe, I'm sure it looked a little bit different, but make sure you try and get the instructions. And if you can help it, if you're really lucky, you might be able to get the plastic bag that actually controllers come in as well. Usually this was clear and it had text on it in red, but sometimes there were different variations of the bag as well. We're just going to set these aside. So starting with the first controller, the most common controller, as I said, is this gray controller right here. I'm going to compare my prices this time to 2 years ago when I posted the last video as well. So I don't really think the prices changed that much, especially for the controller loose. I'm still saying roughly 15 American dollars, US dollars, the same as last time. However, if you're looking to get the boxed variation for North America, last time I only said $25, but I think this time you can probably go to $40 for that in the boxed, which is pretty consistent right now, I think, with most of these different variations of these colors. Now, in Japan, actually, last time around I said $45 if you're looking to pick up this box. However, I really think the Japanese market, especially in North America, is now becoming more saturated with these controllers, so you can probably actually find this for only $30 as opposed to paying $45 for it, which I did suggest last time. So loose, 15, American box, 40, Japanese box, probably around 30. Try and pick them up complete if and when you can. So now we're going to move this one out of the way, and we're going to go to the second most common controller going in terms of rarity. So I really think the second most common one is really up for debate depending on the solid colors, but I'm going to go with the black controller. Now the black controller, here it is loose. If you're looking at getting it loose, the exact same price, $15 for it loose. I do think the box is probably around the exact same as well, $40 in North America and $30 for the one in Japan. Not much difference for all of these, but I do want to go through all the variations for you. Moving on from the black to the third most common N64 controller, in my opinion anyways, and we're going to the yellow one. So the yellow one in North America looks like that, in Japan looks like that. I'm a much bigger fan of the Japanese packaging, by the way. And the controller, same thing, $15 if you're looking to get it loose with a good joystick, probably about $40 for the box in North America, and again $30 in Japan. Moving on quickly, trying to move on quickly. And number 4, the fourth most common controller, I guess you could say. And we're sticking with these solid colors. We're going to move on to blue. So blue in North America and blue in Japan. And there is the solid blue colored controller. I really do like how there's this solid color sometimes, but I really wish there was a few other ones. We never really got pink. We never obviously got purple in the solid colors. And there was a few others that they really could have done that they didn't, like orange in a solid colored controller. But again, loose, 15 bucks with a good joystick, 40 for the American box, 30 for the Japanese box. Moving on to green. Green to me is the fifth most common. And there's the box for North America, and there's the box for Japan. Here's the controller itself, again, just $15 if you're looking to get the controller. $40 for the American box, or for the North American box, or European box, and the Japanese version will usually set you back again, $30. I swear the prices change for everything else, but for these ones, yes, it does seem pretty consistent because they are the solid colors that do seem very, very common. And if you've been paying attention, you know there's only one more solid color left. That's the standard version, and that is red. So I don't know if I actually consider red the rarest. Just on this list, that's where it goes. North America, Japan. Here's the controller itself. Again, $15, $40 for the box in North America and probably Europe, and $30 for the one in Japan. Moving to the next one. Now, we're done the solid 6, but next we're going to go to the 7th most common controller, I think. To me, this one is actually also released worldwide. The previous 6 controllers that we went through were also released worldwide in every region, and these ones, this one here is actually the Atomic Purple, or called Clear Purple, sometimes mistaken for Smoke Gray occasionally. Now this one I would be willing to actually still pay $15 for. The North American box, I think, has about the exact same as it was before. So previously I said $35 roughly. I still say $35 for that one. And the Japanese box, I previously said $60. I really don't think it's changed very much. I've been watching these, and I still say around $60 is probably a pretty good deal to get the Japanese box of the Clear Purple controller. So that was number 7. Moving along. Number 8. So number 8, now we're moving into the Funtastic series. Funtastic meaning that they are clear, transparent plastic. So you could get the one in North America. It was actually sold like this in a sealed blister pack. This is the first of the 7 in sealed blister packs. And it was also available in Australia in this kind of a box that's called Jungle as well. It's the same color, Jungle Green. So these controllers were actually released in North America, Europe, and Australia, if I'm not mistaken. This one might not have been released in Europe in its own box, I'm not sure, but it definitely came with the console, to my knowledge. There's the controller itself, obviously outside of the packaging. This time around, I actually said $25 for the controller loose with the tight joystick. I think last time I said $20, so maybe an increase of about $5. And if you're actually looking to get the Australian box, that's the next one I'll talk about. These ones have been selling in Australia for a lot of money, and they're sometimes imported worldwide to North America, for example, but usually on average this is selling for $180, sometimes up if it's in really good shape. You can see mine has a little bit of damage on it. Next, speaking about the transparent, cleared, sealed package controller, now these ones are called blister packs, and that one's on average selling for around $225 right now. If you can get that one in good shape, any less than $225, I think you are doing well. Let's keep moving on. Keep on keeping on. Now the next controller, in terms of rarity, in my opinion, I really think the Jungle Green's more common just because of the Donkey Kong Jungle Green console as well that matched that. The next one I think up would be the Ice color, and this is obviously called Ice Blue. Again, this was released in, I believe this one was everywhere worldwide. It was actually released in Europe only with the console, if I'm not mistaken. So here's the controller itself, and this time around I said $25 for the controller loose, same thing as the Jungle Green. I do say $180 for the Australian boxed, and about $225 again on average for the blister pack sealed blue controller. It's just so hard to find, and when they do pop up, a lot of collectors are trying to find them. Same with the Australian boxed controller. Moving along, what number are we at? We have done quite a few. We've done 9, so we're going to number 10. And number 10, sticking with the Funtastic series, this time we're going to Fire Orange, one of my personal favorites, also released in Australia in this kind of a box. Fire Orange is actually just in North America and Australia. It was released in Europe, though, with the console, but Japan never saw this release, which is quite strange. There's the controller itself in all of its glory. Same prices, really, $25 for the controller loose, about $180 on average for the boxed Australian version, and $225 for the actual blister pack sealed. And keep in mind, again, just to warn you, or forewarn you once again, this is just my opinion of how much I believe they will cost. Clearly, it could depend on your region, or it could depend on the availability at the time. Next up, number 11, it looks like. We're going to Grape Purple. So Grape Purple looks something like that in North America, and I really don't want that to fall, so I'm going to grab another box to actually just set this up. And that is the Australian box. However, that's not it with this controller. We get tons of different box variations for this one. You also get one that was released in Japan. So this controller was also released in Europe, but only with the console. Here's the box variations you see worldwide. North America, this one's actually Australia, and then also in Japan. And the controller itself, boom, looking awesome. Grape purple, looks pretty outstanding. And for Grape purple, I'm saying the same thing. Loose, about about $25. Just $25 with a good joystick. If you're looking to get the North American blister pack, I'm still saying $180. The Australian version here, I'm still saying about $225. It's so hard to find. But the Japanese one, this is something extra this time around, I'm going to actually go to $140 for this. And 140 is actually a bit above last time. Last time I just said about 120. It just seems like it's a little bit harder to find this one this time around. And for all of these, obviously, both the Australian and the blister pack have gone up. Previously, I said maybe 55 for the Australian packs and maybe 100 for the blisters, but the blisters have definitely doubled in price since then, if you were wondering. We're going to move on from Grape Purple. And after Grape Purple, we're going to go in terms of rarity to the next one that I believe, and the next one in my opinion anyways, number 12 it looks like, is Transparent Smoke Black. Sometimes also just referred to as Clear Gray, I do believe. And this controller was released apparently in every region of the world. It was only released though in Europe and Australia with the console. So here you're looking at the Japanese box and the North American blister pack. The controller itself does look smashing. However, this controller is actually just black with see-through transparent plastic, and I do think a lot of people actually would rather pick up one of the colored versions, so that's why I don't think this one maybe sold all that well compared to the other ones, but some people's favorite color is black and it works out really well for them. So this controller with the if it was just the controller on its own, we're sticking with about $25, but if you're looking at getting the one that's the blister pack, this one again about $225, but it is a bit harder to find in my opinion than the others. Maybe that's just my experience. For the Japanese box though, this time around I'm actually saying about $150. Last time around I said about $125, so that this one did go up by about $25. Obviously the blister pack almost doubled as well. We're almost done all those blister packs, but we're not quite there. There's just a bit more to go. 2 more blister packs actually to go through. And the next one that I'm going to talk about, in terms of rarity anyways, in my opinion, this one is probably not that rare if you actually look at just the controller, but if you're looking at this sealed blister pack, this one is incredibly hard to find. So this is called Watermelon Red. The controller looks just a little bit like this, and this one was actually only released in North America as well as in Europe. In Europe it was only released with the console, but in North America obviously it was released as that blister pack. No other packaging actually exists for this controller. If you're looking at just getting the controller itself, I'm actually going to stick at $25, but if you're looking at getting that blister pack, only a handful of those blister packs have come up worldwide since I started collecting 7 years ago. I believe only 3 people have these in their possession. I believe it might just be myself, either FinGamer or DDR Tonight, as well as Sick Cooper. I believe those are the 3 that we know exist. If you know of any others, please let me know. They're incredibly rare to find. So for this one I went to $300, but it might actually start a bidding war because they're so hard to find. It might actually go up from $300. That's just my opinion. You can come below and tell me how much you think that's actually going to sell for. Now, after we're done all those fantastic series, we're actually going to go to a little bit of a different thing. This one we're going to go to one of my favorite colors. This one is called the Extreme Green Limited Edition Toys R Us controller, and this one looks outstanding. It really pops. It really is. Extreme Green is a great name for it. It's like neon green. And this one recently in the box with this packaging is the only way it's released in North America, but this box in particular is selling for so much now as a complete set as opposed to last time around when I did this pricing guide. So this time around I really think the Extreme Green, you can probably buy it loose for about $30. That's a $5 increase from last time when I said $25. And if you're looking to get the box though, with the complete controller and the baggie and good condition and everything, this could go upwards of $150 and up. Sometimes I'm seeing them sold for hundreds of dollars. Sometimes it actually goes for maybe $90. It really depends on the condition and if it's buy it now or auction. Usually auctions are north of $150 for this controller. That's a lot of money. But it is one of my favorite colors. Next, after that, we're going to actually go to the final blister-packed Nintendo 64 controller. If you've been paying attention, you might know that there's one remaining. We're done all the Fantastics, but there is actually one more blister pack left, and that is Gold. So Gold, again, was a Toys R Us exclusive in North America. It was released Gold, though, worldwide, to my knowledge. And it was released in Japan, though, in box packaging, either like that or like this. but they are both the exact same controller. There is no difference. Now for the gold controller, we are actually looking at different prices, I think, this time around a little bit. So here is the gold controller on its own. Make sure it doesn't have that many scratches, because this one does easily scratch if you're a collector. If you're looking at picking up this one loose, I do believe you could just pay about $25 to $30 for it, maybe a $5 increase over last time. And if you're looking at getting the ones from Japan, these boxes here, I do think that these actually dropped in price from when I started collecting them. I think both versions are selling on average at about $60. Last time I said $80, so I do think these dropped a little bit. Now the gold blister pack, just like most of the other blister packs, it's probably going to run you somewhere around $225 to pick that up. Again, a lot of money for a sealed controller that you're probably not going to open because it's a collectible and you want to keep it sealed. Moving on from that one, I do believe we are at something like number 16 now on our list. And 16 is going to a kind of a special controller that actually doesn't have any sort of boxing with it. This is the North American blue and yellow controller. And this was actually also released in Europe and Australia, but this one in particular that I'm holding is actually from North America. Now this color of blue is slightly different than another Pikachu blue that I will show you later in the video, but the top of the controller is blue, the bottom is yellow, it does have the Pokemon insignia there, and it was only released with consoles. So if you're looking to pick this one up loose, I still think it's about $30. Last time around is about $30, so no change really. Moving on, one that's very, very similar to that one. Actually, this one is just the complete opposite of that. This is yellow now on the top, blue on the bottom. They're the same shades of yellow and blue. Again, saying Pokemon, obviously, on the top as an insignia. And this one, again, was only released with the console. However, this one is exclusive to either Europe or Australia. You can't find it anywhere else in the world, or it wasn't sold anywhere else in the world. And this one actually, I do think this one went up to about $40. Last time I just said $30. It's just harder to find, especially if you don't live in those regions like Europe and Australia. Okay, we are moving along. Excellent. So that's 16, 17. I do believe this one will then be number 18. Number 18, this controller is actually very, very common if you live in the region where it's sold. This one is the usually called Mario Kart Black and Gray controller, but it was also released in normal standard packaging that almost looks like the black controller. So I will warn you, I don't have that box packaging yet, as I almost dropped something, but I didn't. Great catch, Lithium. It was also released in this kind of packaging. However, you notice on the top of that one in particular, there's black on one side and gray on the other, so this is not the right box for that. The controller itself, if you're wondering, this just looks like a standard black controller. It's actually not. It is black on the top, but it is gray on the bottom. That is the only difference. So this one is a Japanese exclusive. It usually sells for, in my opinion, loose, about $20. No change from last time, about 20 bucks. But if you actually are looking to buy it in this box for the Mario Kart, again, $35. It's the same as what I said about 2 years ago. But if you are looking to get the box that I said is similar to the black one, that looks kind of like this, the price could really be all over the place. If they ever do come up, sometimes they're sold for like $60, but sometimes a collector knows what they have and they actually sell it for twice or triple that. So my average price would probably be about $100 if you can find it in this kind of boxed packaging. Done the Mario Kart controller. Excellent. So now we're getting into some of the fun stuff. I think we're at number 19 if you're following along. And this one is something that is exclusive mostly to Europe and to Japan. So this one's actually clear blue and clear white. Here you are seeing on the left the Japanese box packaging, and on the right you're actually seeing the European box packaging. The only clear controller, I think, for Europe that was released like that in that box packaging, making that box actually quite difficult to find. Here is the controller itself. It is the same ice transparent blue as ice blue in North America, and the bottom though this time is clear white. Sometimes it does fade a little bit over time. And if you're wondering about that plug, the plug is actually blue as well. Now this controller, if you're looking for it loose, it's probably about $30. It's the same as last time. But if you're looking to actually get the boxed controller in Japan, so this one that you see here, I do think this one really didn't change all that much. Sometimes you can find it for just like $70, so it's really no change from last time, about $70 for the Japanese one. Sometimes more, sometimes less. And the European one, even though it's very hard to find, especially for me, because I'm in Canada, this one usually sells actually only for around $40 if you can help finding it, sometimes about $45. So $40 to $50 probably is about what you'll pay for this one in the box. I think we're into our top 10 finally, which is exciting. And top 10, so I think this is number 20. Number 20 is the counterpart to the one I just showed you. This one is actually the clear red and clear white. The exact same concept with watermelon red top, but the bottom is clear white instead. And this one was exclusive to Japan, and this one is actually going for, in my opinion, only $35 loose, roughly a $5 decrease from last time. And then if you're actually looking to pick up this box, I do think it's around $70, which isn't a huge change from last time that I said around $80. Maybe this one went down just by a little bit. But that's probably the 10th rarest controller. Okay, next, number 21 it looks like. We have some fun stuff, and these are the Pikachu controllers. This Pikachu controller is exclusive to Japan. It is a little bit different than the one in North America that I had already showed you, so I do want to compare those really quickly and briefly. But here is this controller in particular, and like I said, just to pull out this one, the blue is obviously a very different shade. This one that we're talking about says Pikachu, Nintendo 64 on the top. This one just says Pokemon. So blue on top, a different blue than the Pokemon controller, and yellow on the bottom, which is the same yellow as all the controllers released that were yellow worldwide. If you're looking to get the Pikachu blue one though, I do think you're probably looking at spending about $25, and $25 is probably $15 down from last time, so it's probably a little bit less, which is good to know. That sometimes they're going to be a little bit more affordable, but if you're looking to pick up the box, I still think it's around $80, just like it was last time. Its counterpart is one of my favorite personal controllers. You might know I love the color orange. This is the Pikachu Nintendo 64 orange and yellow controller, looking like this one. And this is the only solid orange color that you get on any controller. It does look like a cream kind of orange, reminds me of ice cream or something like that. Same yellow on the bottom, obviously says Pikachu on the top of the Nintendo 64. Only released in Japan. If you're looking to pick this one up, $25 loose and $80 for the box, just like the previous one that we just talked about. Now we're really getting into the fun stuff, so number 23, I believe. This one is exclusive to North America, and it is the Donkey Kong 64 controller. This one was a promotional item through, I believe, Nintendo Power. It does say DK64 on the top. It is the same color yellow as the yellow controllers, but it does have really cool banana tips on the bottom of the controller, which is really quite awesome. So if you're looking to pick this up in good shape, make sure the tips aren't completely worn off if you can help it. Now, last time for this controller, I was saying it's usually going for about $110, but I do think that's dropped. This one's probably around $70 today. Next up, we are right getting into this now, which is exciting. I believe this is number 24. Number 24 is also an exclusive to North America, and this is a promotional item again through Nintendo Power. This is the Nintendo Power 100th issue gold controller. This is the exact same as the gold controller, however this time it just features that insignia that says Nintendo Power 100 on the top. So be careful about condition, make sure it's not too scratched. This one never came with a box, it never came with a manual or anything like that. Last time around I said about $175 for this. I do think that's dropped to probably about $140 though this time around. If you know anything about me, about a collector, then you'll know that this next one, number 25, I believe, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, yes, number 25 is actually one of my favorite items of all time in my entire collection. This is the Millennium 2000 controller. This is the only controller that was released that we know of in a very limited quantity. This one only had 1,000 items produced. It's also the only controller with different colored buttons, they're all black, a different base for the analog stick, or for the joystick, that's also a black base, and a different D-pad that's solid black as well. The front is a really cool, obviously silver color, and the bottom is this black matte color that looks really outstanding, and obviously the controller port is also silver as well. It does say Millennium 2000 on the top of the controller. If you're searching for these on eBay, a lot of the times Dreamcast controllers come up, but be patient. I think last time around I said around $300, but recently these ones have been selling for over $400, which is a bit of an increase on this one. We only have about 5 controllers left. I'm going to grab them and bring them a little bit closer so this video is easier for me to finish off. And This next controller is another one of my favorites. This is the Die-A Hawks Nintendo 64 controller, reminding me very much of Halloween. It is a different orange on the top than the fire orange. It's a bit brighter, almost like extreme green's brightness. And the bottom is a black, clear, transparent color as well that is different than smoke's, making this a very unique controller, exclusive to Japan. If you're looking to pick this one up, actually, that's just loose. Last time around I said $100. This time around I'll just say $75 though. A bit of a decrease. And I think last time I said for the box, I sold one of my own boxes of this. I had a double at one point for over $400. But I think last time I said about $250. This time I'm going to go over $300 if you're looking to pick this one up in particular. Okay, we are all the way down to the final four. Now, its counterpart, or very similar to it, is actually called the Jusco controller, and this one's also exclusive to Japan. The top of this controller is almost like a dark black, dirty finish, very, very similar to Smoke Black, but it is slightly different. The bottom is a clear white. It's only released in Japan, as I said, but this one's a little bit more rare, in my opinion, to find in the box or loose than the Die-A Hawks. So this one, last time around I said loose, 100, but it looks like they're selling for about 150 actually. And then if you're looking to get the boxed version, which you do see here, which I actually made a trade for, usually it sells for over $350 if you can ever find it. That's probably an increase from last time, but it's so hard to find actually with the box. Now we're down to our final three. Now this next controller, I actually don't have the box for it, but this is called the Jeffrey controller, and it was released in Toys R Us. This is a Japanese exclusive. Basically what you're looking for on this is the Jeffrey insignia on the top, and it does say the word Jeffrey, and this is actually on the controller. It feels smooth to the touch, and it's very, very, very difficult to find. Just like the Mario Kart controller, it's black on the top and gray on the bottom, so the only distinguishing factor is that Jeffrey insignia at the top. There was a box release for this, but I have never really seen it for sale, and it usually sells for a lot. If you're looking to pick up this controller loose, I still say it's over $200, just like last time. If you're looking to get it boxed, I'm still saying over $500 likely, because it's so hard to actually find. I don't know if I'd actually spend $500 on it though. Now the next controller, the second rarest controller in my opinion, is called the Hello Mac controller, and you might notice in my collecting videos, I don't have it yet, but it does look exactly like this. Just on the top it has the Hello Mac little character as the insignia instead of the Jeffrey one. Again, it was exclusive to Japan. I'm just using this for a reference. And I would really give it almost the same prices, but I think last time I said the Hello Mac on its own was selling for over $300, but now the Hello Mac's probably selling for about $150. The market's starting to get flooded with more and more of them, which is good news for me because I need to get one still. And the box complete version of that one, I again say over $500 if you ever see it actually being sold. Now the rarest controller on my list, and number 30, is actually one that I don't have a real version of, and that is the E3 N Insignia Gold and Black Nintendo 64 controller. This was exclusive to 1997 E3 Star Fox event, and I actually thought I had a real version, this one in my hands, but this is not real. This is actually a fake, which still infuriates me, meaning I will likely never actually see a real version of this. I do believe FinGamer has one of the only ones in the world that we know is a real one, and they're very, very hard to find. If you ever do find this though, it's usually sold for over $500. I still have a bad taste in my mouth from getting this fake one, so I'm probably going to keep the fake one in my collection just to use as an example. Thank you so much for watching my entire guide of all of my Nintendo 64 controllers. There are so many that you can collect for. It is a great console to actually have a lot of fun with. I enjoy having all of them, and I enjoy trying to show them and display them because a lot of them do look absolutely outstanding. Feel free to fill that like bucket. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, and everything else. And remember, as always, go collect them all and keep smiling while gaming. Thanks for watching.